The final night. The church bell echoed endlessly through the valley. Every ring shook the walls. Every ring felt closer. I checked my phone again. No signal. No battery icon. Just one line across the screen. Final night. I had never typed those words. The screen suddenly went black. Then it cracked, without me even touching it. I let the phone fall to the floor. Somehow, I already knew there was no calling for help. The empty aisle. The congregation was gone. Every pew stood empty. The church was silent again. Only one sound remained. A slow, steady breathing. Coming from the last pew. I forced myself to walk down the center aisle. Each step echoed through the building. Halfway there, I noticed fresh footprints, not leading away from the pew, leading toward me. But no one was there. The footprints stopped, only inches from my shoes. Then, a cold hand slipped into mine. There was nothing to see, only the feeling of fingers tightening around my hand. The last watchman. A voice echoed through the church, not from behind me, not from the pew, from everywhere. For over 100 years, someone has always remained the last watchman, the last witness, the last soul. Then, the figure slowly rose from the last pew. For the first time, I saw its full face clearly. It wasn't a monster. It wasn't a demon. It was every watchman who had come before me. Hundreds of faces, merging into one. Their mouths opened together, and they all spoke the same sentence. "Now it's your turn. The choice." The front doors slowly unlocked. For the first time, I heard the sound of rain outside. Freedom. I could leave, but as I looked toward the exit, I remembered Samuel's words. "If no one stays, it walks out." The creature stepped aside, leaving the path to the door completely open. It wasn't stopping me. It was giving me a choice. Outside, the first light of dawn began to appear. Inside, the last pew remained empty. Waiting, I took one slow step forward, not toward the exit, toward the last pew. The creature smiled. The church bell fell silent. And just before I reached the seat, someone knocked on the front door. 3 slow knocks. Knock. 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 A familiar voice whispered from outside. "Ryan, don't sit down." The final warning. The 3 knocks echoed through the church. Knock. 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 The voice outside came again. "Ryan, if you sit down, it will never end." I looked toward the front door. For the first time, sunlight was shining through the stained glass windows. Morning had finally arrived, or so it seemed. I glanced back at the last pew. The creature was gone. Only the empty seat remained. Waiting. Silent. Patient. The truth. I unfolded Samuel's paper one last time. The 7 rules had disappeared. Only one sentence remained. The church does not trap people. It traps choices. Suddenly, everything made sense. Every watchman had been offered the same decision: stay and contain whatever haunted the church, or leave and unleash it upon the world. No one had been forced. Every one of them had chosen. The last seat. I walked slowly toward the final pew. Each step felt heavier than the last. The church became completely silent. Even my breathing faded. When I reached the seat, I placed my hand on the old wood. It was warm, as if someone had been sitting there only moments earlier. I closed my eyes. Then, I turned away. Not toward the pew, toward the exit. I couldn't sacrifice myself. I pushed the church doors open and stepped into the morning sunlight. Nothing happened. No scream. No shadow. only silence. For one brief moment, I believed it was over. The final twist. 3 months later, life had almost returned to normal. I never spoke about Black Creek. No one would have believed me anyway. Then one evening, I was scrolling through local news. A headline stopped me cold. Historic Black Creek Church opens after 60 years. The article said, volunteers had restored the building. It would reopen to the public the following Sunday. Ending. The police never found anything unusual inside Black Creek Church. When they searched the building, every pew was empty. The basement contained nothing but dust. The old bell tower had partially collapsed decades earlier, according to official records. No one named Samuel Brooks had lived in Black Creek for more than 40 years. It was as if he had never existed. I burned the old list of rules. I destroyed my camera. I deleted every recording from that night. But none of it mattered, because sometimes, late at night, my phone still vibrates. Always from an unknown number. Always the same message. The last pew is waiting. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more real-style horror encounters, make sure to subscribe to Velmora Files. New terrifying stories are uploaded every week. And remember, if you ever find yourself alone, inside an abandoned church, never, ever sit in the last pew. I'll see you in the next file.